A long time ago, the gods descended into the human world in search of excitement. They chose to live permanently in the lower world, sealing away their divine powers so they could experience life with all its hardships and inconveniences. The only thing they can offer humans is the power to fight monsters, their blessing. Those who receive this power become their servants, their familia. Bel, our protagonist, is the sole member of the Hestia familia. He is currently inside the dungeon, running for his life from a minotaur. He has no chance of surviving until a beautiful woman named Eyes appears and saves him. After that encounter, Bel leaves the dungeon and stumbles through the streets, covered in blood. He goes to see his advisor, an elf named Aina. Is he going to ask for guidance about the dungeon? Not at all. Instead, he asks her to tell him everything she knows about Eyes, but Aina isn't having it. She scolds him for heading straight down to the 5th floor. It's dangerous enough to enter the dungeon alone instead of joining a party. She has told him this before. An adventurer shouldn't be too adventurous. Bel can only apologize, but Aina continues. She says he is unbelievably lucky. Not many level 1 adventurers, especially ones with only 2 weeks of experience, survive a minotaur attack. Still, she's relieved he's safe. He needs to be more careful next time. After all that scolding, Bel steers the conversation back to what he really wants to know. Eyes. Aina immediately understands. He's fallen for the girl who saved him, hasn't he? Bel can't deny it, so Aina begins her explanation. Eyes belongs to the Loki familia. She's currently level 5 and is said to be one of the strongest swordswomen in the city. The gods have even given her the title Sword Princess, but Bel interrupts. He already knows that. What he wants to know is what she likes to do, what her favorite food is, and whether she has someone special. Aina replies that she's never heard anyone say Eyes does, but realistically, it won't be easy for Bel. He has already received the blessing of the goddess Hestia and become part of the Hestia familia. There are many reasons why getting close to a leading member of the Loki familia will be difficult. Bel is disappointed, but Aina tells him to cheer up and go exchange the magic stones he earned today. After doing that, he prepares to leave. Before he goes, Aina gives him one last piece of advice. Girls like guys who are strong and can protect them. So if Bel keeps working hard and becomes stronger, Eyes just might notice him. Bel's spirits immediately lift, and he shouts that he loves her, leaving Aina wondering if she might have been a little too kind. On his way home, Bel starts recalling the words of his late grandfather. His grandfather once said that adventurers should pick up girls in the dungeon. You save a weak female adventurer from a terrifying monster, she becomes grateful, and the two of you grow closer. That, he said, is one of the best parts of being an adventurer. Bel realizes that's exactly what happened, except the roles were reversed, so he just needs to do his best. Eventually, he arrives at the rundown church that serves as their home base. His goddess, Hestia, happily welcomes him back. Bel tells her everything that happened, which immediately worries her. If he died, it would be traumatic for her, but Bel reassures her. As the only member of the Hestia familia, he could never leave her alone and helpless in the world. Hestia decides to believe him, so he'd better not let her down. For now, she has a delicious gift for him: fried potatoes. Since more customers have been coming to the food stand where she works, they gave her some as a reward. While they eat, Hestia admits she still can't find anyone willing to join her familia. Maybe it can't be helped. She's a goddess nobody has ever heard of. But Bel insists that the blessing is the same no matter which god you serve. Even so, Hestia says she wouldn't mind it being just the two of them for a little longer. Then she immediately changes her mind. It does bother her that Bel has to do all the work alone, but Bel tells her not to worry. She's working hard too, and their familia is just getting started. If they push through this, things will get easier. Hestia thanks him, saying she's lucky to have met someone like him. Now it's time to update his status, something done by applying a drop of the goddess's blood to his back, allowing her to view all his stats. While she does that, Hestia thinks Bel is far too idealistic about the dungeon. He'll never find the kind of girls he's dreaming about in a brutal place like that. Take this Eyes girl. If she's that strong and that beautiful, of course other men are after her. She's bound to already have someone she likes. Then Hestia says out loud that Bel needs to pay more attention to what's right in front of him. The girl he's looking for might already be by his side. In fact, he's already met a wonderful girl who would love him and hold him gently. And besides, since Eyes is part of the Loki familia, there's no way he could marry her. Bel should forget about that girl and look for the happiness standing right before him. But Bel just says Hestia is being really mean. He then checks his updated stats and notices his agility has increased dramatically, probably because he spent so much time running from the Minotaur, but his magic power is still 0. He wonders if he'll ever be able to use magic. He also notices that something seems to have been erased from the skills line. Hestia claims her finger slipped. The line is empty, just like always. In her mind, She thinks about how easily children of the lower world can change, while gods remain the same. Bell actually did gain a skill, Release phrase. It allows him to grow quickly. As long as his feelings stay strong, the skill will continue to work, and the stronger his feelings, the more powerful the effect becomes. Hestia is happy for him, but it bothers her that someone else was the reason he changed. She's obviously thinking about Eyes. The next day, as Bell heads to the dungeon, he briefly feels someone watching him. A moment later, a girl named Seer approaches him. She hands him a magic stone he supposedly dropped. She makes small talk until Bell's stomach growls. Hearing that, Seer gives him her lunch. She tells him not to worry, she'll get something to eat once the pub opens. In exchange, Bell has to promise to come eat there tonight. Bell shyly agrees. Later, in the dungeon, Bell fights with intense determination. Every time he feels like stopping for the day, he thinks of Eyes and pushes himself harder. That night, when Hestia updates his status again, Bell can't believe the results. His ability scores have increased by more than 160 points, and even though he was only hit once, his vitality jumped by 30. This has never happened before. He asks Hestia why he grew so fast, but she tells him not to ask. Then she hurriedly dresses up, claiming she's going to a party with her co-workers. Bell should go enjoy a wonderful dinner on his own, but she isn't going to any party. Instead, she wanders alone to a secluded place to think. She can't believe Bell grew so much because of that skill. Does he like Eyes that much? But he already has a goddess watching over him. Meanwhile, Bell goes to the restaurant where Seer works. As promised, they serve him a huge amount of food, most of which he didn't even order. Luckily, he earned enough money that day to pay for it. While he eats, he hears someone announce that a group with a reservation has arrived. It's the Loki Familia, Eyes included. Bell is stunned. Seer explains that they're regular customers. Their goddess Loki really likes the place. Hearing that, Bell realizes that if he comes here often, he might be able to see Eyes more. Just then, Bell overhears one of Eyes' teammates, a man named Beat, talking loudly about how they accidentally let several Minotaurs escape on their way back. Eyes took down the last one on the 5th floor. He mocks the Tomato Dork, a scrawny rookie who had just started adventuring and got cornered by one of the Minotaurs that escaped. When Eyes cut the monster down, its disgusting blood splattered all over the kid, making him look as red as a tomato. Then the Tomato Dork ran away screaming. Their princess saved him and he ran from her. How pathetic is that? The others at the table tell Beat that's enough. They're the ones who messed up by letting Minotaurs escape from the 17th floor, but Beat doesn't back down. Trash is trash, he says. Then he turns to Eyes. Hypothetically, who would she choose, him or the Tomato Dork? If that kid asked her out, would she ever say yes? Of course not. Someone weaker than her has no right to stand beside her. She would never allow such a thing. A weakling isn't good enough for her. Hearing all that, Bell can't take it anymore. He bolts out of the restaurant without even paying. Both Seer and Eyes rush outside to stop him. Eyes wonders if that boy was the one she saved. Where does Bell go? Straight to the dungeon. He has to become stronger, strong enough just to stand at her side. A few days pass, and Hestia finds herself sitting behind Bell, tracing the divine script onto his back to update his status. As she works, her eyes widen in shock. She remains silent when Bell asks if something is wrong, but internally, she is reeling. The boy is growing at a rate that defies all logic. She knows he survived a terrifying encounter in the dungeon, but even that cannot explain these numbers. The answer lies in a rare skill she has never seen before, Release phrase. This skill grants Bell accelerated growth as long as his feelings remain strong. She realizes that the depth of his desire, specifically his focus on the sword princess he admires, is fueling his meteoric rise. The realization sparks a sudden wave of jealousy in the goddess. She lashes out at him, calling him a cheater and a liar, though Bell remains confused by her sudden anger. After she calms down, she debates whether she should tell him the truth about his abilities. She worries that if other gods find out about such a powerful skill, they might try to steal him away. Ultimately, she decides to keep the skill a secret to protect him. She thinks that while his growth is incredible, she will simply support him and lend him her power as his goddess. She makes him promise not to be so reckless in the future, admitting that she is terrified of being left alone. Bell promises to get stronger without making her worry, vowing never to abandon her. Relieved, Hestia informs him she will be away for a few days, starting that night. After that, Bell heads to the pub where Seer works to settle his debt. He immediately prostrates himself before the owner, Mia, and apologizes for running out without paying his previous bill. Mia accepts the money with a grunt, telling him it is a good thing he came back on his own, as she was planning to hunt him down otherwise. Seer joins them, smiling warmly at Bell. She hands him a handmade lunch for his next trip into the dungeon. Bel tries to decline out of politeness, but Cyr insists until he gratefully accepts. Before he leaves, Mia offers him some harsh but vital advice. She explains that her staff only forgave him because Cyr pleaded on his behalf. She warns the young adventurer that there is no point in acting tough when he is a rookie. She tells him that survival is the only thing that matters, and that even if he feels pathetic or people laugh at him, he wins as long as he comes back alive. She threatens that she will never forgive him if he lets himself get killed after she took the time to lecture him. Bel leaves the pub with a sense of determination, though he feels a bit embarrassed after accidentally promising to see them later. That night, the gods and goddesses of Arario gather for a grand banquet. The atmosphere is filled with divine energy as long-separated colleagues reunite. Hestia arrives, though she feels out of place among the more affluent deities. Freya also arrives, the goddess of beauty, whose presence captivates everyone in the room. Freya approaches Hestia, who makes no effort to hide her dislike for the beautiful goddess. Freya finds Hestia's bluntness charming, but their conversation is interrupted by Loki. Loki arrives in a rare dress, and Hestia immediately begins to bicker with her. Hestia asks if the Sword Princess in Loki's familia is seeing anyone, which prompts Loki to react defensively, claiming she would destroy anyone who tried to pursue her favorite child. The rivalry between the two goddesses turns petty as they trade insults. Loki mocks Hestia for her poverty and her inability to afford a nice dress. Hestia fires back by mockingly laughing at Loki's flat chest, chanting the insult repeatedly until the other gods start placing bets on who will win their shouting match. Eventually, Loki decides to walk away, satisfied that she has sufficiently teased her rival. As the party continues, Hephaestus finds Hestia and greets her. Hestia is genuinely happy to see her old friend, but Hephaestus immediately warns her that she will not lend her any more money. She reminds Hestia of how much she freeloaded in the past. Hestia insists that things are different now because she has Bel, and she finally works up the courage to ask for a huge favor, a custom weapon for her lone adventurer. Meanwhile, Freya receives a secret message and leaves the party early, claiming she has found something she wants to check on. While the gods enjoy their lavish banquet, Bel stands alone on the street, staring through the shop windows at the gleaming weapons he cannot afford. He feels a bit discouraged by his lack of funds until the god Mayak walks by and recognizes him. Bel immediately apologizes, feeling embarrassed that he is only window shopping without buying anything. Mayak offers a warm smile and tells him there is no need for apologies. When Bel asks why he isn't at the grand divine banquet, Mayak explains that his small familia keeps him busy preparing medicinal goods instead of partying. To Bel's surprise, Mayak pulls out 2 light blue potions and offers them as a gift. Even though Bel tries to decline, Mayak insists, joking that he is simply being a good neighbor to ensure Bel keeps visiting his shop. After the banquet, Hestia follows Hephaestus to her office and refuses to leave. She performs a deep, formal prostration on the floor, a technique she learned from another god, and begs for a weapon. Hephaestus points out how incredibly expensive her custom work is and tells Hestia to save up the money first. Hestia refuses to give up, explaining that Bel is working so hard to change his life and follow a dangerous path. She admits she hates being a goddess who can do nothing for her child while he gives her everything. Moved by Hestia's sincere love and desperation, Hephaestus agrees to forge the weapon herself, provided Hestia pays off the debt over the coming centuries. They spend the night in the forge, with Hestia acting as an assistant to the divine smith. The next morning, Bel is walking through the streets when he is stopped by Anya and Ryu, the waitresses from the pub. Anya tells him that Cyr skipped out on her shift to attend the Monsterphilia festival and forgot her wallet. She asks Bel to find her and deliver it. Ryu clarifies that Cyr actually took a vacation day and might be in trouble without her money. Bel agrees to help, though he has to ask what the festival is. They explain that it is a massive yearly event hosted by the Ganesha Familia, where tamed monsters are showcased in a grand spectacle at the Colosseum. On a balcony overlooking the city, Loki and Aiz meet with Freya, who is disguised. Loki scolds Freya for her habit of obsessing over other people's children and sowing conflict. Freya ignores the scolding and describes a boy she saw, someone with an ethereal white color she has never seen before. She suddenly senses something and leaves abruptly, leaving Loki to pay the bill. Elsewhere, Hephaestus finally finishes the weapon for Bel and gives it to Hestia, reminding her not to forget the massive loan she now owes. Bel wanders into the crowded festival grounds, feeling overwhelmed by the size of the event and the difficulty of finding Cyr. Suddenly, Hestia finds him, admitting she missed him. She ignores his mission to find someone and insists that they go on a date right then and there. She drags him to a food stall and buys crepes. She tries to feed him a bite of hers, but Belle is too embarrassed and offers her a bite of his instead. They share a tender moment when he reaches out to wipe a bit of cream off her cheek, making Hestia blush with happiness. However, the peaceful atmosphere is a facade. In a dark corner of the monster enclosures, Freya finds a massive gorilla-like creature. She decides that while she intended to watch Belle's growth from a distance, she cannot wait any longer. She uses her influence to drive the monster into a frenzy and directs it to target Hestia. The massive monster breaks free from its enclosure and begins rampaging through the streets. It ignores the crowds and focuses its gaze entirely on Hestia. Belle realizes the creature is chasing them and pulls Hestia away, leading her into the narrow alleys of Daedalus Street. He tries to fight back, but his cheap sword shatters against the monster's powerful hide. Belle is terrified, but he refuses to run away and leave Hestia behind. They reach a dead end with a heavy metal door. Belle quickly ushers Hestia inside and locks the door from the outside. Hestia screams for him to open it, but Belle refuses. He tells her that he will stay outside to buy her time to escape through another way. He remembers the family members he has already lost and declares that he will not lose any more family today. The clear, bright sky serves as a painful reminder for Belle as he recalls the day his life changed forever. He remembers the frantic calls for him to come quickly, only to receive the devastating news that a monster in the mountains killed his grandfather. Because the old man fell into a valley too deep for anyone to reach, Belle never even got the chance to say a proper goodbye. Left alone in an empty house, he makes a firm choice to leave his old life behind and become an adventurer in honor of his grandfather's memory. However, the journey starts with harsh rejection. Belle wanders from door to door, pleading with various deities to let him join their familia, but he looks so frail and weak that no one wants him. Gods and goddesses mock him, telling him to get lost, or suggesting he only come back when he actually has money or strength. Just as he reaches the peak of his despair, a small goddess named Hestia approaches him. To Belle, she looks like a literal savior standing before him, offering him the home and the family he so desperately craves. While Belle deals with the white gorilla-like monster, the god Ganesha receives urgent news that several monsters have escaped their enclosures. The guards responsible for the beasts appear to have had their very souls sucked out somehow, suggesting that a malicious outside force is responsible. Ganesha learns that 9 monsters are currently loose, and his own strike force is already in action. His subordinates worry that if they ask other families for help, they will be humiliated for letting the monsters escape in the first place. Ganesha, however, declares that he is the lord of the masses and that his greatest happiness is seeing the people smile. He orders them to forget about position or honor and prioritize the safety of the citizens. To avoid a mass panic, he decides the festival should continue while they handle the problem. As the camera shows the goddess Freya smiling in the distance, Ganesha wonders if this is all a diversion or part of a larger plan. In the middle of this chaos, Belle finds himself face to face with the massive monster known as a silverback. He tries to defend himself, but the fight is one-sided. His cheap weapon shatters against the beast's power, leaving him completely defenseless. Meanwhile, Hestia is frantically sprinting through underground passages to reach Belle. She remembers a conversation with Hephaestus about a special knife. Hephaestus explained that the hieroglyphs carved into the blade give the weapon its own status. The knife is essentially alive, but it remains dormant until it is held by Hestia's specific child, Belle. Once in his hands, it will grow and evolve alongside him, becoming a reflection of his own power. Elsewhere, another member of the guild rushes to inform Ina of the escape at the west gate. Ina tells the girl to lower her voice so she doesn't cause a panic, but she worries because the odds of finding any adventurers nearby to help are very low. Just then, Eyes appears. She has killed a couple of monsters and asks how many are left. Ina explains that while they have asked for help, there are likely 3 or 4 still roaming the streets. Eyes immediately heads out to find them. Ina watches her go, noting that she finally understands why Belle admires the Sword Princess so much, though she hopes Belle isn't caught up in the danger. Back on the streets, Belle is battered and bruised. As he runs for his life, his thoughts turn to Hestia, hoping she is safe. He realizes that Eyes isn't coming to save him this time, and he feels a strange sense of relief that she won't have to see him looking so pathetic and beaten again. He truly believes he is at the end of his rope, but his despair is interrupted by Hestia's voice calling his name. Belle is horrified that she came back for him, but Hestia refuses to listen to his pleas to run. She tells him that she is his goddess and would never leave him behind, reminding him of his own promise to never leave her alone. As the silverback closes in, Belle scoops Hestia up and ducks into a secret passage to hide. Belle is pessimistic, claiming he is too weak to win. Hestia gently scolds him for being so negative. She tells him that she believes in him because she knows the kind of person he is, the kind of boy who is brave enough to fall in love with a legendary warrior like Ise Wallenstein. She pulls out the Hestia knife, telling him it is their shared weapon and that it will bring them victory. Elsewhere, Ise continues to defeat the escaped monsters. Loki notes that Ganesha will owe them a favor now. Guild members inform Ise that the Silverback is still loose and was last seen chasing a young adventurer down Daedalus Street. Although Loki wants to take a break, Ise immediately heads toward the street to find the final beast. Back in the hiding spot, Hestia quickly sets to work updating Bel's status on his back, while she recalls how she begged Hephaestus for this weapon. Hephaestus had warned her that from a blacksmith's perspective, a weapon that grows like this is wrong, but she gave it to Hestia anyway. In the present, Hestia is stunned by what she sees on Bel's back. His ability scores have skyrocketed by over 600 points. The Silverback finally bursts into their hiding spot. Bel looks to his goddess for one last bit of reassurance, and she tells him to believe in her, the knife, and himself. Bel charges into the fray. This time, when the monster strikes, Bel's new knife holds firm. Hestia shouts encouragement, explaining that the blade is alive and will become stronger as long as Bel continues to grow. Fueled by his desire to protect his goddess, Bel enters a state of total focus, repeating his vow to believe in his power until he finally delivers the finishing blow to the monster. The neighborhood erupts in cheers as the citizens come out of hiding to celebrate the young hero. Even Ise and Loki watch from a distance, with Ise offering a small, rare smile at Bel's victory. However, the victory is short-lived for Hestia, who collapses immediately from exhaustion. From afar, Freya watches with interest, referring to Bel by name and hinting that she wants to play with him again soon. Bel takes Hestia to Mia's pub to recover. While he waits for her to wake up, Seer comforts him. She tells him that she saw his fight, and that she thinks he was incredibly heroic. She even teases him by saying she fell in love with him, leaving the young adventurer flustered and wondering if she is making fun of him. When Hestia finally wakes up, Bel asks her about the knife and the name Hephaestus on the scabbard. Hestia admits that she went to the great divine smith herself because she didn't want to just be taken care of by Bel. She wanted to be the one to help him. She reveals that she worked out a way to pay for the incredibly expensive weapon because her love for him is her greatest motivation. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Bel hugs his goddess, and she assures him that he can always rely on her. Away from the warmth of the pub, a much colder and more unforgiving reality unfolds in the shadows of the city. A cruel adventurer berates a small girl carrying a massive bag. He mocks her for being a useless supporter and threatens to use her as a monster decoy if she doesn't hurry up. A few days later, Bel finds himself in the guild. He stands before Aina. She is visibly distressed, her voice rising in disbelief as she learns of Bel's plan to descend to the 7th floor of the dungeon. She reminds him with a sharp tone that it was not long ago that he nearly lost his life on only the 5th floor. She finds the idea of a rookie like him jumping ahead so quickly to be nothing short of foolish. Bel tries to defend himself, stammering that he has grown significantly since their last meeting. He proudly informs her that many of his status levels have reached rank E. Aina is skeptical, finding it impossible for a newcomer to improve so rapidly. To settle the matter, she checks the status symbols on his back. Her eyes widen in genuine shock as she reads the results. His strength and vitality have indeed reached rank E, but it is his agility that leaves her speechless. It has already climbed to rank D. While there are parts of his status she cannot quite decipher, she acknowledges that his growth is undeniably real. Resigned but impressed, she admits she must grant him access to the 7th floor, but she remains worried about his equipment. She asks if he is free the following day, her mind already set on a solution. The next morning arrives with a sense of nervous excitement. Bel is already waiting when Aina arrives, looking quite different in her casual civilian clothes instead of her usual stiff guild uniform. Seeing that he is already there, she playfully asks if he was looking forward to their time together so much that he arrived early. Bel is flustered and fails to give a smooth answer, which only makes Aina more observant. She asks him if he has anything to say about her outfit, and when Bel clumsily notes that she looks much younger than usual, she reminds him that she is still only 19 years old. She leads him toward the towering central spire of the city, Babel, heading directly for the prestigious shops managed by the Hephaestus Familia. Bel is instantly intimidated by the scale and luxury of the building, protesting that he doesn't have nearly enough money to afford weapons or armor from such a famous brand. Aina ignores his worries, telling him that a boy shouldn't keep a girl waiting as she drags him inside. As they browse the lower floors, Bel is nearly paralyzed by the prices he sees on the tags, with some items costing as much as 30 million valises. However, the trip takes an awkward turn when they are greeted by a familiar voice. Hestia is there, wearing a shop uniform and working a part-time job. Both Belle and Hestia are stunned to see each other. Belle wonders if she has taken on a second job because she has been so busy, while Hestia's eyes narrow with immediate jealousy at the sight of the half-elf standing next to her adventurer. Aina introduces herself professionally as Belle's advisor, but Hestia immediately asks if she is using her position to try and seduce him. Aina quickly tries to maintain her professional composure, insisting she keeps her private life separate from her work. Aina then leads Belle to a different floor, explaining that while the high-end brands are expensive, the Hephaestus Familia also sells work from apprentice blacksmiths. These items are much more affordable because the new smiths need their work evaluated by adventurers. Belle finds a set of light armor that catches his eye, bearing the signature of a smith named Welf Crozo. It costs 9,900 valis, which is nearly every coin Belle has, but he feels a strange connection to the piece. Aina supports his choice, noting that he clearly prefers gear that allows for high mobility. Before they part ways on the street, Aina hands Belle something. It is a gift, a protective gauntlet. When Belle tries to refuse such an expensive present, Aina grows serious. She tells him that she has seen too many adventurers go into the dungeon and never return, and she doesn't want him to be one of them. She admits that perhaps she is giving it to him for her own sake, so she won't have to worry as much. Touched by her sincerity, Belle accepts the gift with a deep sense of gratitude. As he makes his way home, the peaceful evening is shattered when a small figure crashes into him. It is the same prom girl with the oversized bag from before. She is being chased by a furious man wielding a sword, who screams that she won't get away from him this time. Belle instinctively steps between them to protect her. When the man asks why he is interfering for a stranger, Belle simply says it is because she is a girl in trouble. The situation is about to turn violent when Ryu, the waitress from the pub, intervenes. With a cold, terrifying authority, she tells the man to stop fighting in the street. The man, sensing he is outmatched, curses and flees. Belle thanks Ryu for the help, but when he turns around to check on the girl, she has already vanished into the night. The following morning, as Belle prepares to enter the dungeon, he is approached by a girl wearing a deep hood. She asks if he is looking for a supporter to help him carry his loot. Belle recognizes her and asks if she is the girl from the previous evening. She plays innocent, claiming she is just a poor supporter advertising her services. When Belle refers to her as a prom, she pulls back her hood to reveal animal ears, claiming she is actually a dog person. Belle touches the ears to confirm, and feeling embarrassed for his mistake, apologizes. The girl, who calls herself Lily, uses his guilt to her advantage. She tells him he must take responsibility for touching something so important to her, and begs him to hire her. Belle, remembering Aina's advice about the efficiency of having a supporter, agrees to let her accompany him for the day. Inside the dungeon, the partnership seems to be a massive success. Lily is constantly praising Belle's strength, while Belle finds he can focus entirely on fighting since he doesn't have to worry about collecting magic stones. Lily asks about his black knife, and Belle tells her it was a gift from his goddess. When he asks about her own family, she mentions she belongs to the Soma Familia. After the expedition, Aina expresses some concern when she hears Lily is from the Soma Familia. She explains that the members of that group always seem desperate and pushed to their limits. However, seeing how happy Belle is with the results of their work, she tells him the decision is ultimately his. As Belle turns to leave, Aina notices something missing. She asks where his knife is, and Belle realizes with horror that his most precious possession is gone. He assumes he must have dropped it in the dungeon. In reality, Lily has stolen the weapon and taken it to a shady buyer. However, she is shocked when the man offers her only 30 valises for it. He tells her the blade is dead junk and won't cut anything. Lily is frustrated, knowing she saw that very knife tear through monsters earlier. As she storms away, she runs into Ryu and Seer. Ryu's sharp eyes catch the shape of the knife hidden in Lily's sleeve. She demands to see it, noting it looks like one a friend of hers owns. Lily tries to lie and run, but Ryu uses a well-aimed coin to knock her down, causing the knife to fall to the ground. Desperate to avoid being caught, Lily sprints away into the crowded streets. Only a few seconds later, Lily's blind flight ends when she crashes into Belle once again. Right after, Ryu and Seer catch up to them. They find Belle with the girl, but they are puzzled by what they see. Because Lily has her hood down and her animal ears are visible, she appears to be a dog person rather than the hooded prum Ryu was just chasing. Belle asks them desperately if they have seen a black knife, and Ryu shows him the blade, explaining that she found it after a prum dropped it. Belle is so overwhelmed with relief that he begins to cry. thanking Ryu profusely as the knife glows with a divine light the moment he touches it. Ryu does not point a finger at Lily, clearly thrown off by the girl's appearance. Seer, however, seems to sense that something is not right. She leans in close to Lily's ear and whispers for her not to be such a brat, making it clear she knows exactly who the girl really is. Despite the incredibly close call, Belle remains completely unaware of the deception and continues to trust Lily, even asking her to return to the dungeon with him the following day. The next day's hunt is even more profitable. Belle has attached his knife to the gauntlet Ina gave him to ensure he never loses it again. They work with incredible harmony, and by the time they exit the dungeon, they have earned a staggering 26,000 valise. Lily is amazed, noting that Belle has earned more on his own than a full party of 5 adventurers usually does. Belle is humble, comparing himself to a rabbit being praised, but he insists on splitting the loot evenly with her. Lily is confused by his kindness. She asks why he isn't trying to take it all for himself like other adventurers would. Belle simply tells her that he never could have earned that much without her help and that he wants to keep working with her. Lily can only look at him and tell him that he is very weird. Meanwhile, deep in the dungeon, Eyes and her companion Riveria prepare to face a powerful foe, with Eyes insisting she handle it alone. High above in Babel, Freya watches Belle from her window. She decides she is tired of just watching and wants to play with him, pulling a specific book from her library to awaken the power sleeping within him. Finally, Hestia is walking home after a long day of work, exhausted from trying to pay off the debt for Belle's knife. Her fatigue vanishes when she sees Belle in the distance, but her joy turns to a scream of betrayal when she sees him happily holding hands with Lily. She cries out that Belle is a cheater,